Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Canada is Boring, Part 2 of the Tim Hortons saga.
The Hollowing of Tim Hortons.
The Hollowing of Tim Hortons. My name is Jesse Harley, and with me is the ever-slippery Rhys Waters.
Yes, this is a special Part 2 episode because I did so much. Look at all this paper. I did so much research that I don't know why I printed it out. I could have used it.
Damn, son. Okay. It's impressive.
But it's just too much. And we left it on a cliffhanger. We described the practices of predatory kind of investment firms buying beloved brands and holding them out. And the cliffhanger we ended on was they bought Tim Hortons, and we were going to explore what happens next in Part 2. So Jesse, let's play the music.
Play the music.
What makes Canada boring?
Have you ever seen the flag? It's a leaf.
£1 million to go to Canada.
Canada is boring.
I was actually shocked. I mean, from all the countries they could choose from.
Do you like maple syrup?
No, I don't. These Canadians ain't got a care in the world.
Get my country's name out of your fucking mouth.
I was like, oh, he's in Canada. All right. Okay, you communist.
The country needs you. I'm Canadian.
But don't feel bad for Canada. Believe me, this is their strategy.
I'll tell you another thing, the beer sucks.
Don't run off to Canada. It's so boring there.
Hello, welcome to Canada's Boring. Jesse already did intros in the cold open, so it's pointless saying it over again. You haven't got time for us to repeat ourselves, so busy people.
So, something is up with my fucking audio shit, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on
with my fucking audio shit, man. Don't get too technical.
I don't know. Oh, see, do you see that? It's disconnected. It might be the cable. I don't know. Anyway, hi Rhys, how you doing?
Wonderful. So if I was going to recommend people read a book about this phenomenon, as we get into Tim Hortons, there's a book by Brendan Ballou called Plunder, Private Equity's Plan to Pillage America. Now, I know we're talking about a Canadian company, but this kind of happens both sides of the border. So just to give you an idea of what this kind of like predatory, I know we gave some examples last episode, but there's
hold on. Sorry. My coffee's ready. 1 second.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You put all this work and research into this episode. The least I can do is be as annoying as humanly possible for you.
I really appreciate that. One of us does all the work. The other one tries to annoy the one who does all the work. It's a really perfect balance and yin-yang harmony.
This is how friendships work, right? This is...
Anyway, so the thing to talk about Tim Hortons and the other examples that we've been given is that some of them are kind of similar. Tim Hortons isn't like you can buy Tim Hortons and then you own every restaurant in the country. Tim Hortons is a network of franchises, as we kind of touched on in the early years of Tim Hortons last episode. So if for these companies to start squeezing money out of Tim Hortons, they still have to contend with a national network of small business owners who are. Oh,
this is the company. I remember you talking about this. They
3G
when they bought them, it was 3G. When they bought them, they were like
squeeze everything.
So it wasn't about like how can we make the products better? How can we make customers buy more because they like the products and they like the service? How can we make the companies more create more value? It's how can we literally
squeeze
the life out of everything. Like if we can save 5 cents on these shittier cups, then we're going to do that. If we can save 20 cents by making the hash browns out of pure styrofoam, then we'll do that. That sort of thing, right? Like,
yeah. And I got 2 examples for you. So 2007, Sun Capital bought Friendly's, the ice cream and diner chain. They sold off the assets. People were laid off, and they pushed the company into bankruptcy. So they just basically kind of picked the carcass clean of what was Friendly's. But it might have been a viable business with the right kind of investment. However, the reason they went into bankruptcy is because they owed so much money. Sun Capital also was the largest creditor to that chain. So they owned the debt of Sunny's, and then they bought Sunny's. They owned the debt of Friendly's ice cream and diner, and then they also owned the restaurant. So they were able to like squeeze every last penny at a high interest rate and then force it into bankruptcy, and ultimately took all of the money out of it.
I don't know if there's anything I hate more on this planet than corporations. It's the single most evil thing that human beings have ever invented.
And then look at Toys R Us as well. It was bought up by private equity firms Vornado, KKR, and Bain Capital. They basically loaded it up with so much debt they forced it into bankruptcy. And the essentially the private equity firms installed managers that gave themselves multi-million-dollar bonuses just days before it went into bankruptcy. But the bankruptcy is important because if it goes bankrupt, they don't have to honor pensions.
Those fuckers. Wow. Fuck, man.
And it was different in Canada. I know they stayed open for a bit longer and they're kind of like fizzling away now, which is sad. But and apparently, again, these are US stats, hard to find Canadian ones sometimes. The Center for Popular Democracy claims that there's probably been about 600,000 layoffs in the past decade in America because of this practice. So it's over 500,000 jobs eliminated by this kind of predatory capitalism.
You know, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I won't get into it because I can.
But they couldn't do that to Tim Hortons because there's a network of independent small business owners who franchised the brand. So you can't just go around closing stores down. So they have to find their cost cutting in other ways. So what do they do? Well, within a year, So this is a CBC News article from January the 27th, 2015. Tim Hortons is laying off people in its headquarters and regional offices in the wake of its merger with Burger King. The restaurant chain, renamed in the last deal as Restaurant Brands International, confirmed the layoffs in late afternoon, but did not say how many jobs were affected. We have had to make some difficult but necessary decisions today as we recognize our company to position ourselves for the significant growth and opportunities ahead of us.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's shit like that. It's when they pretend to care. It's when they pretend to be like everything they do is for the betterment of the employees and for the company itself and for and they just don't give a shit. I fucking
and that's the thing. But here's the thing I would say about Restaurant Brands International. Their PR is great. They're incredibly good at stopping bad news getting out as they kind of began this hollowing out process. And the only two real sources that were out there during the last 10 years was either some of the kind of like some investigative journalism done by mainstream kind of news outlets, or court documents that were publicly available that hinted at behind the scenes court battles between the Tim Hortons kind of organization and the people who had the franchise.
Jeez.
Okay. So this is I
love people who get hired onto companies like this and think this is fine. This is great what we're doing. You know, this is, and like, I almost wonder if some of them actually believe the bullshit that they're being told themselves. You know what I mean? Like, hey, 12,000 layoffs is good for the company, man. It's good. Why is that good for the company?
I need a second super yacht. Fuck off. Shut up. Anyway, and it'll trickle down. It'll trickle down eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know. Anyway. So apparently the CEO, after they announced those jobs, they then made it clear that they weren't going to kind of cut any more jobs because they wanted to contain the public narrative of cost-driven restructuring. They were conscious of that they couldn't just kind of destroy everyone's jobs. However, not long after that, the Ontario Superior Court, never been there, don't know what it's like, but there was a filing, there was a legal document, a statement of claim in the Superior Court where a franchisee proposed a class action lawsuit against, basically to seek damages, and alleges that after the 2014 acquisition, the parent brand used strategies to extract more money out of the Tim Hortons franchise system at the expense of franchisees, including alleged misuse of the advertising fund, formalizing profit focus accusations in legal pleadings. So this was a franchisee trying to sue the parent company. This was a signed kind of like plea to the courts. There's no evidence that it ever went any further than this. So it was, if it had gone to court, it would have got more publicity. So it was dealt with in that moment somehow.
Dealt with being that they paid them off to shut up.
Or threatened them, or whatever. You can read between the lines. I don't know what it was. It could have been a settlement. It could have been a deal. Who knows? But ultimately, that was within, that was already showing that like some of the franchisees were being squeezed for those profit margins. Then in 2017, you might remember this, Maclean's reported that 1,500 people voted using its coffee ranker voting system. The McDonald's had displaced Tim Hortons as the favorite coffee shop in Canada.
Yeah. They just sold their coffee to McDonald's.
Which was a reflection of a measurable dip in perceived coffee preference.
It's you're not imagining it. It's if you had been here prior to that, you would have known. Like Tim Hortons coffee was delicious. It's just really good.
Everybody says that. I don't know.
It was. It's not anymore.
The McDonald's stuff is fine. The Tim Hortons stuff is fine.
See, this is the thing. Is like I don't know if it was the cream or the sugar or what it was, but like I've noticed a difference. Like the McDonald's coffee, I don't know, man. It doesn't remind me of old days Tim Hortons coffee. So like maybe it's an imagination thing. Maybe I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. You're not going to reach over and like flee to McDonald's as this benevolent coffee chain compared to Tim Hortons.
No, I just mean the taste. If they really
but that's my point. Your expectations buying coffee from any of these places is fine. Like I buy coffee from both places. It's fine. It's a hot drink. I'm not like expecting a branded experience where
I think it was. You know what? I think it was more about the experience, and I think the experience added to the taste. I don't know if that's a thing. If that can be a thing where like things taste better because you're having a better time. Like maybe.
But that's it. It is draw like the reason they can hollow this out and like cut costs is they really rely on the brand value of your nostalgia. They've essentially like relying on your nostalgia to cover so much of what's going on.
Yeah, it's like I suspect happens with television shows. There's only so many really, really, really good writers, and they charge an arm and a fucking leg to do writing. And so a show will come along and like, we want this show to be a hit, so we're going to spend tens of millions of dollars hiring these writers to write the first 2 seasons, and then the show becomes a smash hit because the writing is spectacular. And then the producers are like, well, we've got a cult following. We know damn fucking well people are going to watch season 3. We don't have to pay these writers again. We can fucking let them go off and do other shows, and we'll hire the fucking janitor to come in and write. And you'll see it like people all the time like, why is season 3's writing so bad? It's just because they know you're coming.
Because they cut the show, they put it on autopilot, and you're reaping the benefits. Exactly.
So they sold the rights to the coffee, and they hollowed out the fucking company because they knew that your nostalgia for Tim Hortons was going to keep you coming back. And it did for a little while, I'm guessing, until things started.
Funny enough, Jesse, let's cast our minds back to 2018, some call it. I'd actually barely been in Canada.
Anybody get that? Do you not get that? Is that a no? Okay.
Wayne's World, yeah.
Thank you.
I'd barely been in the country a month when Ledger/National PR, basically they quantified public sentiment on non-product specific but brand experience related kind of feelings.
Sorry, what? Say that again.
How do what are people's most beloved brands? That's the kind of the long and the short of it. And it showed that Tim Hortons had fallen from the number 4 most beloved brand in Canada in 2017 to number 50 a year later.
50?
Yeah.
What was number 1?
I don't know. I just looked at it in the context of where Tim Hortons was.
I was very curious.
Probably, I don't know.
I mean, I can see it. I can,
probably like a mega dildo or something. I don't know.
A mega dildo. Yeah. Mega Dildo Incorporated is Canada's largest, most beloved, not largest, most beloved
brand.
Yeah.
So they dropped number 50. So the commentary emphasized how bad news hits social media and how reputation volatility can spread beyond a single region, consistent with the period's surge in criticism around service and brand direction. So Canadians give a shit.
What was wrong with the service though?
I think it was generally from, I think the indication was cost cutting was affecting service based on probably, I imagine, like staff being overburdened with less
staff
resources.
being overburdened, less training, less money, so
Exactly.
they care less. They don't really. It's just a job, no longer like
less perks. You know, there's things you got to do.
Imagine, yeah, I guess like if I could imagine it, like working, say you are the type of person who enjoys a retail job, and I know people who do, and they wanted to like work up the ranks to become manager of a retail or you know, something like that, like fast food, honestly.
If you're a people person,
if you're a people person, it's a great job. It's
Yeah.
a great job. And imagine like working for a company where like that's the sort of job you enjoy. You get to be around people all the time, where the reputation for this company is this is a great place to come and eat and hang out and be. Like everyone is happy to be there and happy to return. You're going to get treated better by the customer. You're probably getting paid like a decent wage, you know, decent training, decent like the hiring process is not just like get any warm body in here, but it's like we're actually putting effort into this. And then you strip all of that away, where people know like there's no training, anybody can get this job, the pay's shit. You know, I'm sure their pay cuts. I'm making this up. I don't fucking know what
no,
but did. But like, and on top of it, nobody gives a shit to come into Tim Hortons anymore. And when they do, it's a transaction. It's just transactional. It's not a warm place to hang out and have fun with your friends and be happy.
No, it's like,
give me my fucking coffee so I can get on to goddamn work. See you later, fuckers. Get the fuck out of my face. Fuck you. I can picture every single transaction with a customer like that. Yeah.
Give me my iced cap and my farmer's wrap and let me have diarrhea in 2 hours. Thank you. So one of the best jobs I ever had was selling ice cream in a cinema, because
in a cinema,
we would sell Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I got the job because the freezer was on too much and no one could scoop. I say no one. I was just happened to be the only person strong enough out of the small team to scoop the frozen ice cream, and I did it. And it was honestly, people would come up and they would be so happy because they were getting ice cream. It was wonderful. So if you enjoy that service, I can see why it's a really rewarding job.
I had a job in.
I don't believe you.
I'll tell you in the STD zone, the small talks mentioned.
Let's do it then. That's fine.
About me working at Famous Players in British Columbia when I was a kid, and the horrors, the horrors, Rhys.
So Global News picked up on this and ran a whole story and interviewed people with the quotes like saying it's going downhill, etc. And then shortly, like this was.
So I want to know. I'm curious, and I don't know if you have the answer to this. What is 3G's like? I kind of am curious about their business goals, because like a lot of companies, they want to be sustainable and grow in the long run, right? For decades and decades and decades, they want to grow, not only be sustainable, but grow, you know?
I don't know,
what the fuck is 3G's plan? Is it just
I don't think they care. I don't think if they kill the brand, they don't care, because they would have extracted more money in the short term. They don't care whether the brand's still going in 30 years. What they care about is how much money can we extract next quarter.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. Yeah. And so there's two sides of 3G. One, gut everything. Who gives a shit if the company literally goes under in a year if we can extract more money than we paid for the company? Yeah. B, have a division of the most evil fucks on the face of the planet whose job it is to convince everyone that we're doing a good thing.
Yeah. Like but also as well, load the company.
That's your job. Every day you get up and you lie to the public just as much as you can, and you get paid brilliantly for it. Tell everyone we're doing a good job, and this is the benefit. This is the benefit of everyone.
Load the company up with debt as well, so you can extract as much money from as possible through that debt. And then
I don't fully understand. Oh, because can you explain that? I kind of understand it, but like, give me an example.
If a company cannot afford to operate and pay its debts, it then goes into a bankruptcy stage, where then everything's kind of like frozen, and then like somebody has to come in and like decide how they break it all up, and it shuts the company down, and then they just pick off all the bits to try and pay creditors from it. So they don't care about running the company into the ground as long as they make more money in a shorter space as possible.
So if 3G comes in and buys mom and pop's Eel Cannon Inc.
Yeah,
which is a company
everybody loves an old-fashioned family eel cannon.
Right, of course. Especially mom and pop's eel cannon.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
3G comes in and they're like, you know what? We want to rack up a shit ton of debt, which I don't know if you can pay yourself through debt. Maybe you can.
Yes.
Maybe salaries can be racked up through debt. Is that a thing?
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, you just borrow the money to run the company, and then it's at the discretion often.
Oh, that's interesting. So we're like, hey,
strings attached.
Royal Bank of Canada, we're the benevolent 3G. We need $1 billion to really ramp up Joe and Susanna's Eel Cannon Inc. They're like, oh yeah, sure, here you go. Here's $1 billion. And then they take the $1 billion, they pay themselves a giant salary. And then they're like, oh, we can't pay the debt. We're going to declare bankruptcy. And then someone else comes in, rips apart all the eel cannons, sells them for parts. They still owe $900 million to the bank, but because they've declared bankruptcy, there's nothing they can do. And 3G just walks away with $1 billion.
That's what happened to Toys R Us in the US.
How do the banks not see this coming?
Well, no, but
how do the banks? Well, no, but this is the thing. How do the banks who've been giving out loans to 3G owned companies not see this coming after the 15th fucking time they've done it?
Often, but often the private equity firms are the ones lending the money.
Well, how do they not see it coming?
Because they can write the debt. They can write the debt off profits on other projects. Then, if you make a loss, you can write that loss off against your profit.
So it's to some private equity firms' benefit to lend money that they know they're not getting back?
Exactly, because they can extract it through another company, or maybe they just don't give it. I'm not saying that's every case. It could be a bank that they're borrowing from, but they never intend to pay them back in the first place. So it's the most cynical gaming of the system you can imagine. Right. So anyway, so the battle with the franchisees continued in 2018, in the September of 2018. So reported by Global News basically said that Restaurant Brands International were seizing 4 restaurants from a franchisee called David Hughes. He was part of the Great White North Franchisee Association, and they included claims that Hughes Association exposed the practices and policies of 3G and was detrimental to franchisees.
What do you mean?
So essentially, they were saying that this unhappy franchisee who had who had 4 stores, he owned 4 Tim Hortons. They were trying to seize his restaurants off him because essentially they claimed he was leaking their secrets. When what it seemed like is that,
how do you get their secrets? What secrets?
So the parent company, Tim Hortons, said it has reached an agreement with the head of an unsanctioned franchisee group who had his 4 restaurants seized after he allegedly leaked sensitive corporate news to the media. However, he had denied the company's allegations, which he acted as an anonymous source and claimed the company was attempting to intimidate franchisees. So essentially, word got out to the press somehow that the franchisees weren't happy, and someone was talking about what was going on in terms of the Hollowing, and whether this guy had done it or not. Restaurant Brands International, or like the 3G group, were essentially saying, we need to seize his business off him because he gave secrets away.
So instead of 3G or saying none of that's true, what are you talking about? They just they admitted, yes, all of that is true, but he's the one who leaked it. So we're gonna
no. So Restaurant Brands International didn't want it leaked because they didn't want people to remember. We said there's a tight PR kind of machine going on, but they basically said that this guy who owned 4 franchises was leaking what was going on behind the scenes to the press.
So could he sue for that?
Well, no, they were taking him to court to say, you've been leaking confidential business practices. We're going to take your restaurants off you.
Okay, so now I'm invested. I want to know, like, I've always been invested in this, right? I mean, I'm more invested. I want to, like, please tell me you have details with the court. Like,
no, because I don't think it ever went to court. This was just kind of, again, this stuff gets dealt with.
Did he keep his franchise?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
You're a hell of an investigative journalist. Just
I'm not I've never said I'm an investigative journalist. My degree is in documentary film and television. So, look it up. Look it up. Somebody find out.
If you love learning about all of Canada's weird shit and want to support Rhys and Jesse, say hi or learn more, then visit CanadaIsBoring.com. Leave us a voicemail, watch our YouTube videos, connect to their social media accounts, buy our merch, all in one place. That's CanadaIsBoring.com. Enjoying this story? Falling in love with Jesse's rants? Concerned Rhys is losing his accent? Then help grow Canada is Boring by massaging the algorithm with your beefy pipe fitter hands. Leave us a show review on Apple, an episode comment on Spotify, or leap over to YouTube and subscribe. Every little action means a whole lot to these attention-starved, loud mouths. So please help them continue to live this delusion. Otherwise, Jesse will fall off the rails and Rhys will finally crash his Mustang into Halifax Harbor.
This PSA was brought to you by the Canadian Association of Seriously Self-Deluded Podcasters, or CanASP. Visit CanadaIsBoring.com to learn more.
Anyway, so
you don't know what happened. You don't know if he kept his Tim Hortons, his chains. You don't know if he won, he lost. You don't know.
But the thing is, this kind of went underground in terms of like they dealt with this off the record. So these things never go to court. They cut a deal. So, but this franchisee basically said he felt like he was being made an example of to intimidate the other franchisees, as if to say,
"Oh yeah,
you keep your mouths shut or you're next," kind of approach.
Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
And then also apparently they did, there's not 2019, there's not a specific date, but this was published in some kind of obscure law reporting kind of document. The legal update describes settlement components such as $10 million over 2 years on local ads and $2 million in local fees, advisory board reforms, and a protection from retribution for some association members, showing the dispute's scale and the seriousness of franchisee governance concerns. So basically, the franchisees were suing the company again under the radar.
Good. Fucking right. So the bullying tactic didn't work. I'm happy to hear.
Well, he was still taking him to court and everything, but there's very little information. There's very little leakage. Let's call it leakage.
I don't want to.
The front of their trousers are clean. The end of the day,
type of leakage I was expecting.
In a hot, sweaty day, and when they take their underwear off, it's still clean in terms of PR.
Okay. Thank you, Rhys.
No skids, no yellow coloring.
Stop.
The restaurant runs international, even on the hottest, sweatiest day, and even after a farmer's wrap cap, have the cleanest crack in town. If you want a visual metaphor.
Why am I friends with you? Why is this big? Why do I continue?
2021. Tim Hortons basically go to a back to basics strategy and quality initiative, basically saying, like, this is a Tim Hortons corporate news release. A corporate release announces freshly cracked Canadian eggs for breakfast sandwiches as part of the back to basics strategy of elevating quality alongside crispier bacon, new fluffy English muffins, and improved buttery biscuit. And states these changes were monitored for guest satisfaction, which was direct evidence they were trying to say, we care about quality, we're bringing quality back, as if they're admitting that it's basically them going, yeah, we dropped quality, but look, it's back, yay.
Yeah, usually how did that go? Probably not so well, I'm guessing.
I don't know, you tell me. It's very hard to measure these things.
Okay, so the food tastes good. I will admit that, it does taste good. It's just not a cozy place to be anymore, though.
Yeah.
That's gone. That has not returned since it's left. So, and that's just my personal opinion, but I've heard other people talk about that, in general. It's just like, it's just kind of a depressing place to be.
Well, it's kind of, we're only in the realm of anecdotal because
yes,
they were making the profit margins were good, if you know what I mean.
Well, I guess to them, they don't give a shit how they make the money, right? As long as they make the money. So
yeah, it doesn't matter as long as the profit keeps rolling in.
So people have been going to Tim Hortons forever, but like in my day, you would stay in Tim Hortons. You wouldn't just go down, get your breakfast sandwich and leave and go to work. You would go and hang out there for hours, but you wouldn't just get a coffee and a muffin. You'd be spending like all kinds of money for the 3 to 4 to 5 hours you were there. You'd get 3 to 4 coffees. You'd get all kinds of muffins and donuts. You'd buy stuff for other people, right? Like that was kind of, I'm guessing the model was like, stay around for a while, right? You don't have to spend your money elsewhere if you've got nowhere else to go, like, and so like they made the food tastier so people, I don't know, fucking people just grab it and go, I guess now. So it's a different business model. They're making money. Woo-hoo. Who gives a shit?
Well, it looks at the heart of it. By 2024, they filed a report. The company themselves, Restaurant Brands International, filed a report basically saying that they made profit, but also they described their vertically integrated supply chain model, where products purchased from suppliers and sold to franchises, multiple distribution centers and manufacturing assets. This structure is central to franchisee claims that head office economics can pressure quality and portioning decisions. So what it's saying is, whereas before franchisees might have pulled different suppliers from different places, they now have like a centralized food distribution like method, which is controlled from Restaurant Brands International. So they've kind of like they control quality, they control portion size. There's very little variation.
See, I actually didn't know that before individual franchisees could take what they wanted from where they wanted. I didn't know that was a thing. That's interesting.
And then this one, I'll be honest, I don't quite understand this, but this was posted this year. RBI growth algorithm capital return announcement. And this was hard evidence of explicit shareholder return prioritization. So essentially, get the money out. RBI states plans to return capital to shareholders and earmark the majority of excess free cash flow for share repurchases, a clear profit allocation signal frequently cited by critics as evidence of profit focus. So they're getting plenty of money out of it. Despite the quality, they're getting plenty of money out of it.
Of course.
And there's stuff about like shrinkflation, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, plus a lot of companies have done shrinkflation. It seems to be a normal thing that we have to just live with. But it was also like the staff aspect. So back in January 2018,
it's the whole. I just want to say this before I forget it. It's, people start companies for a number of reasons. I have a friend who's starting a coffee company for a number of reasons. One, it's a business. They want to make money. Two, they remember the good old days from Tim Hortons that are gone and they want to recreate that. Create a vibe, create a place to hang out with their friends, create a place to hang out for other people to bring their friends, to create an environment. Like there's all kinds of reasons to start a business. Making money is always one of them, of course, but it's not always the only reason until these large corporate fucks come and try to buy your business from you, right? And like usually everybody has a number. It's everyone has a number. Right? Oh, I love my company so much. It's our family company, blah blah blah. Oh, we've had it for generations. We love it so much. How about $10 billion? Okay, like, you know what I mean? Like everyone has a fucking number. If there's a guy, there's a documentary called Billions and Change about the guy who owns 5 Hour Energy drink. It was just, he started little energy companies making these little 5 Hour energy bottles, and he became a multi-billionaire overnight, and he didn't know what to do with all of this money, right? He's just like, and he's a simple guy. He's not like, more is always better. I'm not there yet. Like one day when I make $20 billion, then I'll be worth it. He's not that. So he spent his billions trying to figure out ways to make the world better, to bring clean drinking water to impoverished countries in Africa, to find ways of making clean energy more affordable and more efficient. This is what he's spending his time on. This is what he's spending his billions on. If I were him, if I were in a similar situation, I should say, and I had billions of dollars, I would spend it making software and making companies that were better than a lot of the corporations out there that are just doing a shit job just for money, and they don't give a fuck about anything. Like Adobe. Fuck you, Adobe, or Monsanto or anything like that. And I would just make competing companies that were giving all this shit away for free and wait for them to come and try to buy me up, and I would never, ever, ever sell. Just fuck you. Just spend the rest of my life just making sure you guys are squandering and trying your best to compete with a company that does a better job than you and does it for free. Like, just fuck you. Fuck all of you. And I would spend billions doing it. So
just make yourself poor again.
Well, fuck it. You don't need a lot of money to be happy. You really don't.
I know. So in 2018, and this is how they cut back on kind of staff and everything. So the company drew negative press over reports that some of the franchises were cutting employee benefits in reaction to a minimum wage increase in Ontario. So the minimum hourly wage increased in 2018 from $11.60 to $14. So in response, they basically said, well, we'll get rid of paid breaks and tips.
Oh my God. What do you mean get rid of tips? How do you get rid of tips?
I don't know. But so it was
what do you mean get rid of tips?
That's what it said in this news article. Get rid of
paid breaks. People tipping the employees doesn't cost the company anything.
Maybe they were like, we're keeping your tips. People do that. But I don't know. This is from a newspaper. Blame Canadian reporting and news media. This is
I do.
And then the other thing, one of the big controversies, and as an immigrant, like I'm kind of like,
you say that word differently than we say it.
As an immigrant,
not immigrant, controversies. Yeah, that's how we say it.
You say controversy, I say controversy. Anyway, so the temporary,
let's call the whole thing off. That's a great
the temporary foreign worker program. You've heard of that, haven't you? Which is kind of.
I think I have, and I think it's people have been using it to their.
They're using it to whip up a froth. They're using it to make people very angry about immigration. And is the system perfect? I don't think it is. I personally, my big concern with it is that it's number one. It's exploitative to a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. And number two, it's making people angry at immigration in a country that is traditionally, which is all about immigration, being pretty positive.
So how does it work again?
So essentially, you say, I can't find a Canadian worker to do this. I need to quickly bring someone in from another country to do the job.
Right.
And Tim,
I can't find a Canadian to do it. Right.
Yeah, I've advertised this. No one wants to work in Tim Hortons. That's basically what they say in this region.
Right. Okay.
And obviously, Tim Hortons, like,
and so you get to pay your foreign workers less.
Well, the thing
is,
or
the government subsidizes it.
No, they're allowed to bring them in, but don't forget, these are people coming from countries where the wage is very high in comparison to what they can earn back at home, and they're not going to complain.
Still living in Canada,
I know, but their expectations are different in terms of money. Like,
I guess
so. If you come here and you're like, well, if I live very cheaply and I share a home with a bunch of other people who are also doing this, we can not have a lot of costs, but also your ability to stay in Canada depends entirely on your employer.
Okay. I guess I don't understand how this is a financial benefit to the people doing it, the corporations, the evil corporations who want to pull this, who want to do this.
They, generally speaking, I think the stereotype is that, you can bring people in, they will work for less money, but
you can't pay them less than minimum wage.
no, but you do have a certain amount of sway over them because their ability to live in Canada is based entirely on the job.
You got to give me an example here, man, because you're talking very vaguely here. If you got to pay people minimum wage, you can't hire people for less than minimum wage. How can you hire people and save? How can you hire foreign workers and save money rather than hiring Canadians?
Okay, let me rephrase it. So minimum wage is not enough to live on in most places.
No, it's awful.
That's why people talk about a living wage. So the reason that people don't,
but that doesn't mean that do you think Tim Hortons pays a living wage? I doubt it very much.
No, they don't. They'll pay minimum wage. But here's the thing. So when people say nobody wants a job anymore, it's like, no, nobody wants jobs that don't pay a wage you can live off anymore.
So
when people say,
hold on, let me
we can't find anyone, no one wants to work for a pittance, basically.
Nobody wants to work for minimum wage because minimum wage you can't live off of. No. Right. So they're like, we know people who will.
Let's exploit some foreign labor and make people angry at immigration.
Okay. That's dirty. Okay. I guess now. Yeah.
And they won't have the same expectations coming from a different culture and a different place where the economy is different. It's an opportunity to come to a new country, start a new life, all those things. So like, I understand why people come here and want those jobs. I've done it myself.
You have?
Well, I came to this country, Jesse. I'm not from you.
You didn't come here and then do a minimum wage job as
no. But my point is, people want to come here for a better life. They hear good things. Canada's brand internationally as like a good place to live is kind of brilliant.
How long have you been here for now?
8
Almost
years.
a decade. 8 years.
8
wow.
years. Yeah.
And what's your review of Canada?
Pretty good. 4 stars.
If Canada had Yelp reviews,
yeah, exactly. So
pretty good.
So and Tim Hortons has actively lobbied the government to because Ottawa lowered the cap for low wage positions. So Ottawa was trying to restrict these temporary foreign worker programs because they were seen as being exploited and unpopular largely in Canada.
The government was trying to do this?
The government has been like reducing the number.
All the government needs to do is increase minimum wage to a living fucking wage.
But here's the thing.
This goes away.
But as long as there's fresh labor to exploit, why would they raise minimum wage? Why would
we're talking about the government who's trying to
But the restaurants could solve their own problem by increasing wages and benefits to staff. And then suddenly they get flooded by people within the local economy who want the jobs. But instead of that, they're cynically going, we're going to keep the wage as low as possible.
But you're saying it's not a problem. But you're saying it's not a problem for the restaurants.
It is. Well, it's not a problem for the restaurants if they can access cheap labor still.
Right. Yeah. Because they're evil fucks.
But for the government, I think the government's trying to restrict it because it's souring the mood on immigration.
So we're going to go back to my point. So it wasn't the restaurants who were having a problem with it because they're able to pay their employees shit.
No, this isn't the restaurants. This is just a general like.
This is the government saying, "Oh fuck, we've got a problem here. We need to fix this."
Exactly.
But the solution the government is refusing to do is to make minimum wage a living wage. That would solve it.
But that's up to each individual province. Immigration is controlled by the federal government. Minimum wage is controlled by the provinces. So the federal government.
I did not know that.
So the federal government is doing something different from.
So the federal government can't say to all the provincial governments, "Hey, listen, we got to get together and make minimum wage livable."
And as long as the restaurants can access this cheap labor, then there's no incentive for them to ever increase wages or benefits to make the jobs more attractive.
Right, because who gives a shit about people when profits are coming in?
Exactly.
I love corporations so much. I don't know if I've told you this.
So they have lobbied. And McDonald's have lobbied too. They've lobbied the government to allow more temporary foreign workers in because they want to keep that pipeline of easy to exploit labor coming in.
Of course.
And I do hate it because I feel like Canada has always been such an inclusive, welcoming place for people from every fucking corner of the world. And I can see the perceptions and the tide turning because of just bad policy and this kind of corporate exploitation of the system. It's because of these decisions that people are going, Like people are making like a lot of racist jokes on TikTok about, buying Indian food from Tim Hortons and all this kind of stuff. And like, I saw it. I've seen it in the UK is one of the things I really didn't miss moving here. And I don't like how ugly the kind of online discourse is and conversation is around immigration now. Specifically.
Agreed.
And the people coming here are just being, and the people coming here again exploited by corporate greed and bad policy.
I don't fully understand. I've had it explained to me, and by people who also don't fully understand it, about the immigration, I guess, mishap we had the past number of years, where we just let way too many people in at the same time, and like normally we had like there was like a trickle effect where we're like, hey, yeah, we're in a company, not a company, we're a country of immigrants. That's who we are. We're a melting pot of different cultures. And we had a trickle like every year, like this is the amount we're kind of letting in, and we're getting them like, excuse me, we're not associating, what's the word? We are integrating them into our culture and into our norms, and this is how we do things. But then, I don't know, sometime in the past 5 years, we just opened the floodgates.
I'll tell you what though, it's just the nature of it took
like it was a decision. Like from what I was told, it was an actual decision.
Yeah, it's largely the temporary foreign worker program.
And the government, I was told, admitted they fucked up, and they're like, this is one of the reasons that like housing is so expensive right now.
Also, as well, there's elevated unemployment in the younger people, because traditionally a lot of these jobs would be taken by younger people.
It is too bad, because like a lot of the immigrants that come in, like they're just lovely people, right? There was at least when I was in Nova Scotia, I can't speak for the rest of Canada, but when I was in Nova Scotia, not that long ago, we had a huge influx of Indian people come in, and delightful people, but like it was changing the landscape, and like you would see, like you were saying, like people were complaining about like you can get Indian food at Tim Hortons now. I got to say, I was for the first time ever able to get butter chicken Domino's pizza, and it was fucking delicious. Okay,
but that's the thing.
That's not a joke. I swear to God, it was Domino's like, well,
but that's one of the best things about Canada. You have waves of immigration that brings new cool food and stuff. Like it
was, from what I was told, from an economic standpoint, it was too many people at once, and it was breaking us.
And the pressure on housing and health, like they have. With the increased revenues of new people coming here, and economic growth from it hasn't translated into like the funding needed to keep up with it. It's bad policy, and corporate greed has kind of like driven it, and the backlash is kind of there. And apparently, in 2015, there was a poll that said 44% of Canadians support abolishing the temporary foreign worker program altogether, so that you can only come in through other kind of other schemes. I went for my permanent residency to come here. It took a long time. I had to do an English test, Jesse.
Well,
I had to prove that I could speak, write, and listen to English.
Can you though?
I give it a go.
See, I don't know what you're saying right there.
Exactly.
It's just gibberish to me.
So this is all the shit that's going on. That's kind of where we're at.
We're getting Welsh people to take English exams to come into our country. Meanwhile, we have Newfoundlanders, so we
don't need Welsh people. We've got Newfoundland.
No, I mean, like if you want people to speak English, but yet we've got we love you, Newfoundlander. Yeah. Like I was a Newfie as a teen. I lived in Bonavista, Newfoundland. I'm just fucking with you guys.
You are now entering the STD zone. Incoming STD. Loading small talk. Enhancing anecdotes. Dick jokes processing. You have reached the small talk dimension zone.
So, Jesse, that is the end of our story. As much as we can glean, what will happen with Tim Hortons, who knows?
So the story isn't over yet, other than...
It's not over. That's as far as we've got.
People I go in there now, like, I've been there early mornings. People line up, they get their breakfast sandwiches, they leave. And nobody sticks around. I have noticed, and this is personal observation, through a number of Tim Hortonses, that it seems to be a safe place for a lot of homeless people to hang out in during the day, which is great for them, so they're not outside and cold and whatnot. But I can see how that might affect the atmosphere and why people wouldn't want to just hang out in Tim Hortons anymore. And I don't know why that's happened. I don't know what's going on there. We definitely need more temporary housing solutions. We need like the homeless problem in Nova Scotia is very sad, and it's
across
increasing
Canada,
across Canada. Yeah, I'm speaking just because I was from Nova Scotia. It's very sad, and that seems like they seem to have found a place to go, which is warm, and they're allowed in, which is great for them, but not great for the whole. We still need solutions for homelessness, and that's not helping the Tim Hortons brand either. So it's just.
Or the banks either.
Or the banks.
Stay warm by the ATMs.
Right. Yeah. So there's Tim Hortons is making money, but they don't give a shit how they make it, and that's just corporate fucking greed. And I fucking hate it. I hate everything about corporations so much.
But ultimately, I guess it's sad though, because like this Canadian brand is going to just keep withering. And then who knows what's going to happen next. I just hope that,
like J.C. Penney's, like Sears,
I just hope other people set up independent coffee shops and smaller chains. All I would say from this is just to buy your coffee from like smaller businesses.
Yes, I love going to tiny local coffee shops, man.
Exactly.
I love it.
Try and give your money to those people, and then but don't make them too successful, because they'll grow big and they'll become corporations. So just support them enough.
I don't know, man. If you're in Halifax, go visit Cafe Lara. If you're in Halifax, go visit what's that other one? It was my favorite cafe, but I'm brain farting right now. It's on Quinpool. It's right across from the Superstore. Dilly Dally. Dilly
Dally's great.
It's great.
The other one, Weird Harbor Espresso. Have you tried Weird Harbor?
I haven't. No.
Nice.
You know what I love about Dilly Dally?
A great TikTok.
Dilly Dally opened up, and they're tiny. They're just like L-shaped, right? And like crammed seats in there, and it's always packed. And I love it, right? And they would have like, I don't know how the fuck they'd manage to do it with such a small space, but they'd have like open mic nights, and they'd have yoga, actual yoga nights. But what I loved was across the street, directly across the street, some asshole thought this would be a good idea to open up a Starbucks. And the Starbucks didn't survive, but Dilly Dally did.
Yeah. Starbucks, yes. But there's not many. There's like one Starbucks on Spring Garden. There's not a lot of chain stores. Lot of chain coffee stores in Halifax. There's a ton of independent ones.
I do love that.
Yeah. Then there's like fancy ones like Pana de Circo. There's
Pana de Circo is fancy. I like Pana de Circo too.
That's a local chain. They've got a couple of different businesses.
They don't have Wi-Fi, which I find odd, but that's fine. Whatever. I would go and have.
Everyone can afford data. It doesn't matter.
But I just go and hang out there. They had, if you can go to Pana de Circo. Pana de Circo, is that what it's called?
Pana de Circo.
It's delicious. Oh, and oh my God, my other favorite coffee shop. What is it fucking called? I know where it is. I forget what it's called. It's on Dresden Row. I think it's the only coffee shop on Dresden Row, which is by Park Lane. It's right next to an Indian. It's sandwiched between an Indian shop and like a Japanese restaurant and a Korean barbecue shop. Oh my God, I can't say this and not shout them out. Hold on.
The other one is Cabin Cafe. I don't know if you've been in there. That's the only one.
Yes. Oh, yes. I do like Cabin Cafe.
When I get to downtown for 6:30 in the morning is the only place that's open at 6:30.
No, I very much like. I've been there a couple times, but the last time I was there, they were doing construction around the corner, and it was just intensely loud. The whole like crazy fucking loud.
Try to drink from it, but yeah. In conclusion, just to support the local coffee shops.
Hold on a second.
There's an amazing one in Bedford West called Levantic, and it's like a bakery that also does coffee. And I just want to go there and just eat multiple pastries until my heart rate raises from the amount of sugar in my blood.
So I found the coffee shop on Dresden Row in Halifax called Coffeeology.
Oh, I've heard of that one, yeah.
It's
Steve Areno's is another one that people love.
Yes, people love Steve Areno's. I've only been a couple times. Go to Coffeeology. Coffeeology is It's very cute. It's
all
very
of these
cozy.
are within like 5 minutes walk of each other. There's tons of cool independent coffee shops.
So great.
And the chains typically don't like it here as much. There's only one Tim Hortons in downtown. There's only one Starbucks, but there's this whole kind of like plethora of independent stores. So
people love it, and they're packed. They're always packed. People love going there with their books, their laptops doing work. Like it's just great. So support independent coffee shops, folks.
Yeah. Great. Cool. Right. I've got to go.
That's your call to action. Oh, I guess no, that was the STD zone. Okay.
That was the STD zone. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this new format. Let us know. Did you like a 2-parter deep dive into the hollowing out of Tim Hortons?
I liked it.
You just want us to talk about, I know, like poop and stuff. Go back to the other stuff. Mix it up sometimes like this. I don't know.
Please do not write and answer, Rhys, because I know your answers are going to be people.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.